Good morning, Tricon. For those who don't know me, my name is Jake Brown. My family and I joined and collectively were baptized at Tricon about 10 years ago. As a member in good standing of the Stewardship Campaign and Stewardship Committee, I was given the honor of delivering the final call to stewardship of this 24 fundraising campaign. This also comes with the responsibility of finding a home for our mascot, Elijah, in case you're worried that he, I think, was lost. He's here if you'd like to talk about having custody of him in the off season. Come see me afterwards. See if he'll stay. Okay. So our campaign theme this year was Forward Together, but I'm actually going to start with a backward perspective. One of the benefits of going last is that I get to look back on and pull from things that people have said in the previous calls to stewardship, as well as some of the sermons that have happened over the last several months. In that vein, here are some excerpts from previous calls that have really resonated with me, and I share these with all of you in the hope that they resonate with you as well. And as I talk through these, you'll hear some common themes, some common threads that come up over and over again. Our campaign started with Matt Boger, who kicked off the fall season, as only Matt can. I think Matt's here in the back, good. Reminding us that this is our community. But community requires us to participate, to lean in, to engage. Even if that means, I believe, bouncing in a bouncy house, Matt. I'm sorry I missed that, but maybe there's a video somewhere. And of course, Matt introduced Elijah and the vision of our bright, engaged, and eternally optimistic future. I'm not optimistic Elijah's going to survive, but we'll see. Okay. Then Sandy Freund talked about how we are all stewards of ourselves. And as part of this is understanding what God is asking us to do. To really hear this, we need to shut out the noise, listen, and then act. Then Sandy reminded us that it is our responsibility to take care of our church using our collective time, talent, and treasure. Marcia Macris, representing the Social Action Committee, talked about the committee's work creating awareness and action for our LGBTQ community and the power of being an ally. She noted that God is referred to in the plural in Genesis, actually something I didn't know, and that we are all a sacred creation. And Marcia reminded us that the overarching command of a faithful life is to love. Love God and love thy neighbor. And in my view, if that simple command was remembered more broadly, we could solve some of the world's most intractable problems. Brett Fye, our newly elected chair of our Stewardship Committee, challenged us to look inside ourselves. And quoting from a recent commencement speech, Brett asked, "What kind of soul will you have?" And then he reflected that if we answer that question through the lens of Tricon, we could change the world. Susan Bates represented the Finance Committee, speaking of her 38-year journey with Tricon and the impact that Tricon has had on her boys and how the gifts of time, talent, and treasure allow us to do the work commanded by a Christian community. This work, in her view, has a very high ROI, or return on investment. Sam Snell, representing the youth group and the future of Tricon, talked about his experience on the search committee, whose work resulted in finding our new minister, Rebecca Floyd Marshall. Sam has been a part of Tricon his whole life. The church has given him a great grounding in love and provided him with a strong sense of self. He also learned how highly regarded Tricon is within the broader UCC. Bob Lawson shared our gratitude for our Minister of Music, Vicki Wagner. That's a great term. I don't think Bob's here today, but a great phrase. And her 38 years of service. And he spoke about our extended season of huge transitions, which will continue with Rebecca joining us in March and then Vicki's retirement next May. Kathy Takvorian, representing the Mission Committee, reminded us how easy it is living in the world that we live in to forget the challenges faced by so many people around the world and even in our own community. Tricon has supported nearly $100,000 per year for the last 5 years of giving, but we can only continue to do this with the support of this congregation. Kathy Flynn shared the work of the Caring Connection that she runs alongside Polly Vaness and Cynthia Lamothe. She quoted Tuck Gilbert, who predates me, but he was a Tricon minister in the 70s and 80s, who said, "If you haven't gone through a hard time yet, just hold on, you will. And remember, we're here for you." This is what the Caring Connection does, organizing receptions, following memorial services, providing transportation, visiting parishioners. And Kathy cited Corinthians. God loves a cheerful giver. But of course, to be a giver, you have to give. And then Prescott Stewart last week spoke about the enthusiasm and optimism for what's to come, for moving forward together based on the 3 pillars of faith, service, and community. As Prescott said, we are excited to deepen our commitment to all three of these pillars, working with Rebecca starting in March. There was inspiration, too, in the services from Jill and Richard, and there were several quotes, but I pulled just a few that really stood out to me. The first is, "God has staked the future of his project on us." I thought that was a great quote. And the second, "The mending of the world is not top down, it's not bottom up, it's inside out. It comes from within us." And finally, Rebecca said in her sermon, "Full, abundance comes from community. The more we give, the more there is for everyone." So if you stayed with me for these last couple minutes, there were a few messages that resonated across these calls and sermons. Optimism for the future as we navigate this time of change, this extended season of huge transitions. The three pillars: faith, service, and community. Love and its centrality to all that we do and all that we are. And of course, gratitude and the spirit of generosity that gratitude inspires. The time, talent, and treasure several people spoke of, to which I would add a fourth T: thanks. In this week and the other 51, let us give thanks for all that we have and for all that what we have can do. Let's close our stewardship campaign with a bang. Let's turn the page. 75% of our revenue, and therefore of the good work that Tricon has done and will continue to do, comes from pledges, which means it comes from you. What can you commit to support the good work of Tricon? With that in mind, the morning's offering will now be gratefully received, enabling more for everyone. Thank you.